Suddenly it rages, starting as a tiny flame, the flicker of a match, a quick gust of wind. Fire! High on the mountain, the man in the lookout tower, the eyes of the fire service, its first line of defense, is the first to see the smoke rising. Swiftly he checks on his map. What is the township and section? What is the range? What physical landmarks lie near? Swiftly he checks through the sighting device of his Osborne fire finder, reporting by radio or telephone, "I have a fire." Swiftly the call goes out to the fire station by radio and telephone, from fire car to fire car, from station to station, from district to district. "I have a fire." Swiftly he gives its description, using every tool of modern firefighting, reporting the wind in miles per hour, reporting the direction, reporting the smoke density. The lighter the color, the lighter the fuel. Light smoke for grass and weeds, dark for heavy woods. This is the enemy. Vicious, violent, dangerous. Against it stand the fire forces, working in close cooperation, all the agencies moving in like an army for that first most important attack. Trucks carrying from 75 to 600 gallons of water, men with every type of firefighting equipment, the hose lines, the shovels, the axes, the McLeods, the bulldozers, the pumpers. Every second is a fighter's second. Every second makes the fire a more dangerous enemy. Time matters. To see the fire as quickly as possible, to report, to get in equipment, to get in men who must come prepared to fight 2 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. Men who come in with food, road-blazing bulldozers. Men who have trained over years to estimate every shape of fire behavior, the weather conditions, the wind, the humidity, the slope, the ground cover. Men who can die in these fires. The best trained men. A swift turn of the wind, a blast of flame, a blaze of clothes. Firemen, too, can die in fires. Hoses mark a ring around the fire, but water is only part of the battle strategy. Into the smoke and flame come the firefighters, clearing a trail around the fire with the shovels and axes and bulldozers. Fighting on days, weeks if need be, men and equipment coming in, more men, fresh crews. Finally, the battle's over. Not won, it's over. And here it is. This is the land the fire leaves. The scarred, ugly, black, barren land. The useless land. No picnics here any longer. No tall trees again for 50 years. No shaded fishing streams here for many, many years. a loose, barren, useless, dying piece of land. And what's the actual money cost to you of all this waste, this fire, destruction? $250 million a year. Dig in your pocket. You pay for this fire. This is what you're paying for. Worth it? Who was the criminal? Who, what, where, when? Why was the fire started? Well, play detective. Play Sherlock Holmes. You'll figure this one out on your own, easily. It's a sunny afternoon. A day for picnics, for hot dogs and coffee, and for the adventurous Tom Sawyers of the family who want to go off into the woods on their own. Who happen to find some matches. No parents here who've been wise enough to watch and advise. Freedom is a responsibility that one man's fun should not be another man's forest fire. Was this you? Were these your children? Here's another clue. Another fine day. Just the day for fishing. The woods are shady, fish taste fine over a campfire. Signs are a nuisance anyhow. No campfires? Why? Was this you? Ashes taken from fireplace or incinerator or campfire keep their burning center live coals long after they look dead and lifeless. Put ashes in a cardboard box and fire's guaranteed. Another sign, smoking area. Find a smoke here. A good sportsman wouldn't do that, but then what? Was this you? Criminals. Robbers? Thieves? No. Nice people. Fine people. People who enjoy picnicking in shaded woods or fishing or driving through fine wooded scenery. People who might even know that fire will stop these picnics, drives, and fishing. Good people. But now dangerous. People who cause this. Unless they're lucky. Perhaps before that campfire blazed up into a raging wildfire, a wiser fisherman had come along and thoroughly doused the fire down to the last possible spark. Or a good neighbor got at that cardboard box filled with ashes and literally stirred and washed out the life of the last possible live coal. Official smoking area, yes. But a cigarette flipped out of the area still starts a fire. Fires don't read signs. The fire services provide safe smoking areas, but right outside them also lies danger. And habits are not easy to break. All roadsides are not covered with gravel. A cigarette spark, wind carried, starts fire. A cigarette spark in an ashtray does not carry fire. A cigarette snuffed out in an ashtray does not cause fire. This man did not burn his hillsides behind him. The man who thinks, the man who remembers, will help his son remember. The small flame of a match, the swift rush of the wind. A forest could burn. A child could burn to death. Fire. That match started it. That carried it. That spread it. And you pay for it. You pay for it in taxes. What are you paying for? That match, that live campfire, the burning ashes, which make these necessary. All this manpower, all this equipment, which not only must be ready to fight, but must be tied up for service or repair after each fire battle. And you're paying deep right down in the bottom of your national pocket. How? The rains come. When the raindrops fall on full-growing brush or trees, what happens? Under their cover lies a protecting mat of twigs and leaves and matted roots called duff. This duff nails the raindrop where it falls. It holds the crop of water in great brush-protected groundwater reservoirs. There's your watershed. But when the land's fire gutted, the protecting mat of twigs and leaves and matted roots is burned out. There's no watershed, no drops held in the ground. When there's watershed, water comes into the dams. Clean, clear, fine for drinking. When the land's burned off, the water slides away and your dams fill with slimy, muddy, undrinkable water. Your brushland, yours. Not too pretty. Who wants it? Well, there's your water bank. Burn it up and it'll take 60 years before that land holds its full deposit of water again. 60 years after replanting with mustard seed and careful replanting of trees. And it takes a while to grow a tree. Here are your trees, just 1 year old. Not good for shade yet, maybe, but alive and ready to plant. In 2 weeks, a fire can burn 12 billion feet of trees that it took 500 years to build from this. These are 5 years old. To replace 300,000 acres with these would cost $10.5 million. These trees are now 20 years old. It does take time to grow a tree and men to put them in the ground to raise the trees. Then comes the nightmare, to keep fire away until they get to be this age, 50 years. Then the ground comes alive again. The quail, rabbits, deer, and bear can come back. If there's not another fire, another flipped match, another smoldering campfire, ashes in cardboard boxes, that's what you pay for, fire, the men and equipment to fight it. Fewer fires, less taxes. Fewer fires, more picnic grounds, more parks, more animals, more water in streams and dams. Your country for you, preserved by you. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.